Peace and blessings, man. Peace and blessings to my folk out there, to my people out there, man. We want to get into this lingo, right? We want to get into the language. Like I was telling people, I've been reading, just going basically through the through the word, getting into the Hebrew, reading it, breaking it down through the spirit. Crack it at. Right? Going through a lot of that stuff. Let me see. I wanted to just go through a read through that and show y'all some things that I've seen in that, man. Through the spirit. I'm gonna do all of Genesis 1, but I'm doing it kind of like piece by piece. That way, it's not really too overwhelming, and people, I guess, can hear, see, and get what they getting out of those things. I'm kind of breaking some of that down. Taking a good dive up in here. Okay. So we definitely go get in there. Do I want to get my laptop? I don't think I need my laptop right now. Let me see something through the spirit of power. Go through some of these things, man. Some of this work. Look at what it says there. I see that. You understand that? Can y'all see? Oh wait, hold on. Let me put it myself like this because y'all can't see it like that. It has to be somewhat like this, right? What is this? This is the Hebrew. Hey man, make sure y'all get them likes. Like, share, like. What do we got here, man? We got the LASHAWAN QADASH, which is the holy tongue. We got it in the Hebrew, right? And we dealing with Hebrew connotation. We dealing with the syntax. And if you want to learn ancient Hebrew, I suggest you subscribe and give it a like. Right. So what I like to do is I like to go through the text. I like to parse it out. I like to show the syntax. I like to show the conjunctions, the adjectives, things that's making up the word from the root word. You understand? And just parsing these things out the right way. And the validity of those things and how it should actually be done. Because what benefit is it if you learn some Hebrew and you can't go read the text, right? So I try to like coincide everything with each other and how it should be. Right? So look at what we got here. What do we got? We got ba, right? What is that? Right? This is you dealing with what? Some type of prefix there, right? Anyways, that ba means in, rashayat, a rashat, right? Depending on what type of dialect you're speaking. But I speak more to like the ancient, right? So you got ba, rashayat, right? Bara alahayim at hashemayam wa'at ha arat, right? And we all know what that is. In the beginning, created alahayim, right? Which would be a plurality and a multitude here. Because when you deal with the yum, anytime you deal with yum, you're dealing with a plurality, right? So for an example, if I was to write just God, which is Allah, right? That's singular form. Now, if I throw the yum, that's plural, multiple, multitude. You see that? So, Barashat bara alahayim ath hashemayim wa ath ha'aratz, right? Wa ha'aratz, which is and the, right? See that and there? You have and the, which is ha, wah, right? Wah, aratz, yath, right? You understand that? And that's going into what became. So you have the earth, right? And the earth, right? Ha, yah, hayath, right? Which is going into becoming, right? Or in was or to be, right? So this is going to was or to be. It was actually kind of like in the past tense nature. Look at what we have here, right? Look at what we have here. The how, right? In the modern Hebrew, it would be tehu. Tehu. This would be tehu in modern Hebrew, right? In the LASHAWAN QADASH, we would pronounce that tha ha wah, because you have that wah, but together, because you have the so-called the te in the like a o sound. So it would be, the reason is u or tehu, because you have the these two words joined together making one pronunciation, right? But the ancient more so would be tahal, right? So tahal, which is going into what? Formless. You understand that? Tahal is going into more so of a formless or empty, chaotic space here. Tahal, that's what that's going into, right? Then you have wa, right? You have that preposition there, or conjunction, which is the wa, which is the and. Bahal, not behu, but bahal, right? So formless and void. So, right? Thahal wa bahal. That's formless and void, right? Wa chashak. In modern Hebrew, that'd be choshek. But wa chashak, which is darkness. Al, upon. Paneh. What is paneh? The face. You understand? So that's face right there, right? So you got wa, waha, aratz, ha, right? So you got waha aratz. Then you have the ha there because it's going into the, right? Yatha, which is going into what? Like was or to become. The root here is actually, right, is the haya, because that's, to be. You understand? That's when you're dealing with to be or was. You understand that? All right. So anyways, you got formless, the how, wa bahal, wa chashak, al, pani, the, what do we got? Oh, okay. The how, right? So you got, what we dealing with? We dealing with formless, right? We dealing with what? Void, right? We're dealing with all these things that's making up what's actually going on. And I'm telling you right now, when you deal with that word formless, it's more so dealing with chaos here, right? It's dealing with chaos, not this, because remember, you're dealing with the earth being formless and void. You're still dealing with a substance, but there's actually something going on here, and that's a little bit chaotic, right? When you deal with the how, when you deal with that the how right there, right? Anyways, in darkness, chashak al pani, right? Upon the face, right? So you got the face, and then you have the ha, which is going into what? What would that be going into? The deep. Shalom, I've been meaning to ask you about the book. The books you have in paper. Oh yeah, Khan. You talking about things like the Tanakh. I'm talking about like Joshua and things of that nature. Wa Yahaya, Acharya, Mawath, Mashah, Abar, Yahweh. Just going into and it came to pass after the death Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and said Yahweh unto Joshua, you know, Yahweh Acharya, Yahya Acharya, Mawath, Mashah, Abide, Yahweh, Mar, Yahweh, Al, Yahweh Shai, Ban, Nawan, Mashrath, Mashah, La More, right? So that's basically, and it came to pass after the death of the servant Moses, Yahweh said unto Joshua, or Yahweh Shai, the son of Nawan, uh, minister, unto Moses, or what he said unto the minister of Moses. That's basically what that's saying there. But yeah, that's the Tanakh. Oh yeah, real quick, let me show you this. Oh, you can get it from Amazon for sure. You just look up Paleo Hebrew, I guess, the ancient Tanakh. It's something you look on there, or I can send you some information. Put your email down or something like that. Give you all of these. A few of those babies. So, oh, Khan. Shalom, Shalom. Khan. So yeah, what did we had there? The darkness, yeah, in the darkness upon the face, right, Khan. Then we got Wawawach. So we got Wawawach, Alahayim. So in the spirit, Alahayim, right? Marachpath, which is hovered, Al Pani, so like a Panay, Hamayim, right? So Mayim would be water, Hamayim is the water, Panay would be face, Al, right? Upon, face, the waters, Marachpath, right? Marachpath, right? That's dealing with hovered, right? Then you have Allah, singular form. Then we have plural, Yam, Alahayim, right? In the spirit. So, right, we see all of that. That's verse 2. Then we have 3. Waya Amor, Alahayim, Yaha, a war. So that's instead Alahayim, become light, right? And became light, right? Waya Ra. So that's C. Ra'ah. Waya Ra'ah. And C. Alahayim, Ath, Ha'awar. So that seen Alahayim, that or the light Ha'awar for good, right? Okay. Waya Badal. So Waya Badal, which is to separate unto toward the waters, right? Bayan, separate. You have Bayan, Ha'awar, Wa Bayan, Chashak. So that separate light and separate darkness. Right here. That's what you have right there. Khan? That makes sense. So you got Waya Ra, Alahayim, Ath, Ha'awar, Kai Tawab, Waya Badal, Alahayim. That's funny. I broke that up. So yeah, Alahayim separated, right? Bayan, Ha'awar, light, and separated, which is Bayan, right? Wa Bayan, Khan, which is and Ha Choshek, which is the darkness. Y'all see that? Khan, the water, definitely appreciate that too. And definitely appreciate you. Then you got verse 5, Waya Korah, So this is the call. So I'm gonna show y'all these separate prepositions. I'm gonna do another video. Like I said, I'm going through this, and then I'm gonna go through a more extensive video breaking more of this stuff down. So y'all be like, what the heck is kind of going on there? That's why I got classes also y'all can step into and join in on. So you got Waya Amar Alahayim. So in said Alahayim, Yaha, become, or to be, right? Right? Then you got Raquai, which is dealing with what? You dealing right here, which is Raquai, a firmament. You understand that? So Raquai will always kind of be dealing with that. Raquai would be dealing with that firmament there. That firmament there, understand, is important because you know what this showed me? When I'm looking at the firmament and dealing with that, like this is something solid. You know what I mean? Think about this. If the firmament is what science tells us, well, not science, but they're trying to convince us that, hey, this is what this is. God says this about this. It's like, hold on. Like, how is that possible? Right? How is that possible when this is something tangible here that's being created? Raquaye, right? This is the Lord wouldn't have had to make a sky. Like a sky would have to be something that came by default. Y'all see that? The sky would have had to have come by default. Why would the sky would have had to come by default? Because it's not really anything that needs to be created. It would be predicated upon the elements of the earth. So how is it now that the Lord needs to make a sky? Does that make any sense to anybody? Right? I just want people. I want people to really think about that. Why would the Lord need to make a sky? Just think about it. What's going on? Right? Not to say that it can't be, but this shows right here require right, look at that. That this is a firmament. This is something solid. This is a vault, right? Require. This is in becoming something, right? What is that? The vault, right? Bathawak. So what is thawak? Thawak literally means in the middle of something or from among something. You understand that? So you have that ba, which is a preposition, which is just in. But when you deal with the walk right here is dealing. Listen, the walk is literally dealing with something solid, right? How do we know that? Because it's coming from what is solid, which is a dome, right? Require, which is what? The firmament. Bathawak. Bathawak means in the mist. You can only have the mist if you have something in between of a thing, right? From among, right? The mist. So thawak means that, right? What in the midst of what? Let's see. Hamayam, the water. You understand that? We know water means mayam. So if the sky isn't anything solid, why is the Bible saying? Let's get this again, right? Barashat, right? This is Barashayath, right? Verse 6. Genesis, right? Chapter 1, verse 6. Waya Amar Alahayim. Yaha Kwarai, right? Rakai, Salakia. So hold on. How is it that, so this is saying, and God, or in Alahayim, right? In said Alahayim, create or to become, Yaha, which means to be or to become, right? Going into the present, Raquaye, which is going into what? The firmament. What about this firmament? Let's see something here. Bathawak. You know what Bathawak going into? Bathawak literally means the midst of something. From, among, or in between. So what's from, among, or in between dealing with this context here of Raquaye, right? Bathawak, and what? Hamayam, which is the waters. What's happening with that? Meaning we have a literal substance here when we deal with the sky and its firmament. I mean, it's just clear as day when we deal with the language. What do we have here? right? Wayahaya, right? Which is what? Something that's being formed and created unto a dividing. How do we know that? Magadayal, right? Magadayal is going into what? Separated, right? Bayan, right? Going back into a mist thereof. The same thing we seen at the line above. Mayam, which is the waters. The waters. La Mayam. So the waters is being separated, obviously, from the waters. That's what you get right here when we deal with Magadayal, right? You understand? See that? And Yaha, Magadayal, Bayan, which is going into like pulling and twisting, binding in a sense. That's what this is doing. Bayan is going into the understanding of binding, right? That's what that's going into. Something being binding or strengthened. When you look this up in the brew, it'll say to wait, but to wait isn't necessary. It's dealing with more so of endurance of a thing. And when you're binding something up, it's dealing with strength and endurance. For an example, if you they had to give you the thing with the stick. If you got one stick, it'll easily break. If you bind up more sticks, it has strength dealing with endurance. Something that's being brought together, a binding, right? Right. You understand? Separating, binding, which is joining waters, right? Unto waters. That's what's happening there. You understand? Waya'ash, which is to work. Asha is to work, to do, labor in a sense. And did or do what? Alahayim, Ath, right? Ha Rakwayai, which is going into what? Firmament. And what? Waya Badal, separated. You see that? Bayan, dealing with between, miss, things of that nature. What? Ha, ma, yam, waters, ashar. This is going into like which or that, ashar. What? From, because you got that preposition there, or that conjunction, right? You got that from, which is the ma. Math, chath. Math, chath. What does that mean? Under, underneath. La, ra, quai, firmament. So underneath the firmament, right? Water which underneath the firmament, right? So you got that mayam, ashar, machath, la, raquai, wabayan, right? You already know what that wabayan is going into. Khan, binding. Hamayam, waters, right? Which, ashar, you got that preposition, conjunction, you have that ma, isle. What does isle mean? Above, upon, onto. So you have ma isle, which is from above, la raquai, firmament. Wa haya khan. What does that mean? And it was so. And it is, or it's to be. You understand that? That's what that's going into right there. You see? What else we have? Did I read this line? So we got Waya, right? Quara, Quara'a, right? Waya Quara. That's dealing with what? And called. Alahayim, La Ra Quayai, right? So we got Waya Korah, Alahayim, La Rakwai, dealing with and called Alahayim, firmament, right? Mashayam, heavens. You see that? Mashayam. Mashayam. You understand? And to be was I rob. Why? So it's dealing with what? What does Bakwar mean? Morning. I rob is what? Evening. Why ya? Ha? Ya. Meaning, and it was Bakwar, morning, Yawam, right? Shani or Shana. What is Shani going into? So Bakwar, Yawam, Shana, that is literally, right? Morning, day, second, right? So it's going into the second day. So-called evening and morning was the second day. That's just what they're going into. This is the literally dealing with second, right? Got 9. Waya Amar and said. So you got Waya Amar Alahayim Yaquar Wa, right? You got now we're dealing with the Raquar Wa Alahayim. Con? So and these things are simple. So I want to show y'all this real quick. Hold on. Let me see. Line 10. Okay, Con. And said, so typically Amar, Amar, right, is and say it, period. So to basically, and he said, in a sense, right? Yeah, right? Like if I was to say I wanted to say we said, and I'm gonna show y'all how to do that. We Amar, not so, because that's going into we. If you put that nah before the Amar, we said, right? Then you put the and here, the conjunction, it'll be something like and he said. You see what I'm saying? So these are like super. These are like super simple things. How we break these words up and understand. So now what you will be doing is you'll just be getting the root. Then when you get in the root, you can understand the prepositions. And that's how you kind of locate what's going on. Because when you see it all at once, at first you're like, man, what in the world is going on here? You understand? Like, nah, dead serious. Like, it be kind of like hard to deal with in a sense because we don't know what's going on. But when you look at it and get a better understanding and be able to separate the prepositions and things of that nature, it's like, I get it now. You understand? So that's what that's on. So, verse 9. Waya Amar Alahayim Yakwawa, which is literally is going into being binded together, right? And said Alahayim, bind together, right? Or to be gathered. That's what that Yakwawa is going into, right? So you got Waya Amar Alahayim, Yakwawa, Mayam. So what is that saying? So again, Waya Amar Alahayim, Yakwawa, Hamayam, Mathchath. What is that? Underneath, right? So you got inside God, basically. Bind the waters underneath, right? Ha Mashayam, right? Ha, what is that going into? Duh, right? Now, don't forget, we just seen the same thing up here. Ha Mashayim. What is Ha Mashayim going to? Didn't we just see this up here? We're dealing with vault, right? heavens. You understand? Shemayim, the heavens. So, anyways, ha Shemayim. So look at what we got. Waya Amar Alahayim Yakwawa Hamayam Machath underneath the heavens. Isle toward or unto. Right. Then you got Maquam. Right. What would Maquam be dealing with? Like Maquam is dealing with unto that place or region. You understand? Or basically like a distance. So unto that place or region. Then you have Achad. One. Right? Chief. Right? Watha'ara. Watha'ra'a. Salakia. Watha'ra'a, which is dealing with and see. Right? And shall, or one could say and shall see. Or to appear. Right? That's what that's going into. Dealing with seeing, because this everybody know Ra'ah means to perceive. Right? So what's being appeared? Hayah Basha, right? What is that dealing with? Right? Yabash. Yabash. Right? What to be separated here is the ha. You have the ha here. Right? Yabash is dealing with dry land. So something is appearing, going into one type of unit. Then we see what? Dry land. Remember, this is Genesis chapter 1, verse 9. Right? We dealing with dry land. Why Yaha? Right? Dealing with what? And it was, or to be, kind. So, we know that to agree. And that would be the end of that right there in verse 9. Right? Waya, Korah, and called Alahayim. Right? Said Alahayim. La Yabash. Right? Arats. So this is the dry earth, the land. That's what this is dealing with in context here. Right? Why? So we got wala, makwa, wala makwa. Right? So what are we dealing with these things when we get to these type of understandings? First, it's always good to break down the what are we first, I would always say when you're dealing with the wa and dealing with a la, for me, it'd be easy to break down with, like, I guess at the repetition what the root is based upon the context of what's actually happening in the passage. That's how me personally, I can differentiate what's actually happening. I can see the joint prepositions. I can break it down. I'm like, okay, obviously, if this is saying this, what would be the root word here? If the other word just, and sometimes you might see a root word and all might have the same, it might have the same understanding, like it might have the same instances, right? It just depends, right? So let's see, where was we at? Said Alahayim, dry land, to the dry land and the earth. Yeah, that's what I actually want to write a few of these down, so we can break this up. So hold on, let me do this. I need to get something. Let me see. What was that? Oh, wala makwala. It's not here. Qua. Oh, am I look qua? Oh, what is that? Khan, all praises. Right. All right. So Oh yeah. So, because these things help. Now, this is sometimes things that I do when I want to break down what's actually happening in the text. Like if I see something unfamiliar with a word, or if I see anything, like again, when you see call, we know call is quara, and then you see waya quara. So now it'll be like, how in the world is this happening? You know what I mean? You know, like how is it that we're seeing things like this when we know the root word is just to be called? So why am I seeing a waya? You see what I'm saying? That's the question. Why am I saying a wire? Can somebody break that down? Do anybody in the chat can answer that question real quick? Why do you see that? Why is that there? If anybody know. Anybody. Anybody. You know what I mean? Because that's what we want to know. We want to know why those things there. What joint preposition would you guys say that is? What do you suppose that's happening in the Hebrew? You know, that's what I would want to know. What do you all say that's happening in the Hebrew? Don't know? That's fine. Neither did I. Um, so, yeah, whatever. So all we dealing with is to gathering. So you dealing with and to gather makwa wala makwa. These is kind of because you got kwa, but it's makwa, right? So and to gather. So all these is joint prepositions and conjunctions. That's all it's dealing with. And together. So when you get back to where was it? Right. So when you get back to waya quar or waya quara alahayim, right? Laya laya bush, right? Which is going into Salakia. Say Alahayim. Right. Dry land. Let's make sure I was on the right line. Yeah, the dry land together, because you got that wa and you have the la, then you have the parent root here, right? Together, which is really technically it would be the qua, right? Going in together, because that ma is really showing you how you bind, because we know that ma means from, right? Bind together, right? Ha maya, the waters. Then you got quara, call, yum, right? Look like we dealing with seas, yum, wayara, si alahayim, kai tawab. What happened there? It's good. That's what we see there through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. You understand that? That it's good. You know, and I promised I would get those 10 verses through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And I'm like, because this is repetition. You know what I mean? So I could go look at the other videos, but it's repetition. I gotta continue to beat brothers and sisters over the head with these type of builds and information over and over, and it'll get better. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go better up, get a better thing. I go see better things coming, but I gotta get it out there. You know what I mean? I got to get it out there. You understand that? I hope y'all understand that. We gotta get out the information. You know? We got to get it out. Verse 11, I guess. Waya Amar Alahayim Dasha. So what is that? In said the Most High God. In said Alahayim, right? Bring forth or to grow. Right? That's all that this dealing with. Right? Dealing with Ha'arat, what the earth, right? Grow, Ashab, which is Dasha, Ashab, which is green grass or herb, right? Mazariah, which is what? Seed. Going into the seeds. But I get into that stuff later because I'm trying to like do this a certain way. So like I said, I just went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Damn. No. Yeah, so I did the first 10. So what I'm gonna do is again, I'm gonna go through this one more time and I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna do a whole better strategic breakdown. It might be an hour long. These I've just been trying to get in, get out. Practicing getting in, getting out. You see? So again, we the Israelites, we can, which this was almost 41 minutes long. I mean, also how long the other one gonna be, but again, we the Israelites. I like going through the text, parsing out the text, reading the text. And again, if y'all want to learn more, especially dealing with conversational Hebrew, I got a lot of cool things, you know what I mean, to help people get through this language. Hit me up, man. You know, I want to say Kahala Yahweh, Bashem, and Mashiach Yahweh Shai. And with that, inshallah, Wam.